When I was 25, I met this family at church that were unpretentious, let's say. They were clean, they were put together. They definitely didn't have like brand new, super fashionable clothes. You know, it was casual. And then I saw that the dad drove this little like 1990 Geo Metro, and the mom drove this really old minivan with like dents on the side. They had 5 kids. And because of the way they portrayed themselves, I was under the impression that while they were able to pay the bills, they didn't have a ton of money. I thought this for about 6 to 9 months until the day that I went to their house. I was invited over to their house for a playgroup or something like that. And I showed up and I was looking at this gorgeous 2-story, 4,000 square foot property on acreage on their own river, huge wraparound driveway. And I pulled up and I was like, I must be at the wrong house. As it turns out, I was not at the wrong house. They still had the Geo Metro in the driveway. The minivan was in the garage, and I showed up and I went inside. And even inside, they had older furniture, you know, things that were hand-me-down and beat up, but their house was gorgeous. And this family was quite an inspiration to me because I was able to recognize the money decisions they were making were not obvious to the naked eye.
Naked, naked, naked.
They paid off their house before they were 40 years old. And then as soon as their house was paid off, they were able to paint the interior, get all new furniture, get a new car. They just did things in a different order than I was used to seeing. And I have used that family as an inspiration ever since. Here are 7 reasons why looking poor might pay off bigger than you think. To take your first steps into looking poor instead of chasing the status of looking rich, you need to make a list of your needs and your wants. And you can do this by going through your budget, your actual spending right now. Needs versus wants. Needs look like this: housing, regular clothing, not fashion clothing, but regular clothing, food, utilities, things like that, okay? So that's needs. Literally every single thing that doesn't fall under that is a want. Everything. DoorDash, that's a want. Going out to eat, want. New furniture, a want. A new car. This is my most controversial opinion. You do not need a new car to have a reliable car. I have a 2012 Pilot. It has 180,000 miles on it. It's one of the most reliable cars I've ever had. It is so reliable. I would drive it across the country. I would drive it to the Florida Keys tomorrow.
Take me with you.
Because I got one that was reliable, not Ford, and took care of it, did the regular maintenance. Yeah, they've got regular maintenance. You know, you gotta get tires, you gotta do the oil changes, but it is safe, it is reliable, it is 13 years old. And honestly, I have a very close friend that got the newer Pilot, like the 2020 or whatever Pilot, and it was less reliable than my 2012 because of where they put the air conditioner. Like underneath, rocks were getting kicked up off the highway and puncturing holes in the air conditioner. She had to have the air conditioner replaced like 3 times at $1,000 each. Newer is not always better. Sorry, Barney Stinson, that's the truth. I would like to challenge the perception that driving a certain car or having a certain bag or wearing a certain necklace or whatever it is makes you rich, when in actuality, it's not necessarily the truth. 90% of the time, it's all just a facade. It's all an illusion. Ignore the man behind the curtain. In the world of restock videos on Instagram and TikTok, and they're so beautiful. They are so satisfying to watch because of the organization. I wish I had my life together that way. And the Amazon hauls and the fill in the blank hauls, whatever it is that people are filming and showing. I'm actually slightly more inspired by the anti-hauls that I'm seeing instead, where people see something, appreciate it for what it is, like, oh, this is really pretty, but don't acquire. Admire, don't acquire. Here's the danger in falling into this, oh, she has these pants, so I have to go buy these pants, or these shoes are in, so I have to go buy these shoes, is that we're always chasing goalposts that keep on moving. We're chasing a look so we can fit in to a group.
Maybe I don't look the part.
Or show our status via what we're presenting to the world, but that doesn't mean you actually have all of your bills paid behind the scenes. It doesn't mean you don't have credit card debt lurking behind your shoulder. The thing that makes me feel calmer and at peace is actually knowing that my bills are paid. I have money set aside for my kids' college if they choose to go, and that I've taken care of my house payment, or that I've set money aside for retirement so I don't have to work until I'm 70 or 80 or 90 or 60. Like maybe I want to retire at 50, who knows? And that gives me more peace of mind than anything I could purchase at a store. And as I'm talking about things you should be putting your money into, like saving up for your kids' college or the purchase of a future car or paying extra on your house or setting aside money for retirement, one of the most important things that you set money aside for every single month, this is a non-negotiable, is term life insurance. I've had it for my family since 2009, and fortunately, Fabric by Gerber Life is sponsoring today's video. Fabric by Gerber Life is life insurance that you could get done today in as little as 10 minutes, right from the comfort of your own home. It's made for busy parents, all online and on your schedule. You can be covered in as little as 10 minutes with no health exam required. Can I get an amen? If you have anyone at all, depending on your income, kids, a spouse, maybe an aging parent that you are responsible for caring for, you need term life insurance. So if heaven forbid, if something happens to you, the loved ones in your life don't have to stress about finances and how to pay the bills or how to pay for a funeral or whatever it is that they're gonna have to pay for. With Fabric, there's literally no risk. There's a 30-day money-back guarantee. You can cancel at any time if you change your mind. So my husband and I each have a 20-year term policy on both of us. And here's a question I actually get a lot is, oh, I have life insurance through my employer. Well, so do we, but we also have additional outside of employment. So yeah, Dave's work will provide life insurance if something happens to him, but if he leaves that job, that coverage will lapse. No one ever said no to extra security. And they do have more than just life insurance. They have access to free digital wills online, investment accounts to invest for your kids' future, and you can manage it all right from your phone. Join the thousands of parents who trust Fabric to help protect their family. You can apply today in just minutes at meetfabric.com/frugalfitmom. It is the first link in the bloop below, right down here, just right down here. It's meetfabric, MEET fabric.com/frugalfitmom. First link in the doobly-doo. The saying, looking rich attracts the wrong people, reflects a belief that by presenting yourself in a way of maybe excess could encourage relationships that are more about, oh, maybe they'll spend some of their money on me, or maybe they'll give me awesome gifts, instead of true connection of similar goals, interests, and views. I've actually seen this a lot from my membership group and also just comments on my channel where people will talk about maybe family members or friends that won't come eat at their house because they're serving, I'm quoting this, poor people food. I don't know what that means to some people. Maybe that's rice and beans or chicken instead of salmon, I'm not sure. But if people want to spend time with you, only if you provide the right food, the right experience, the right vacation. I don't even know what this means. Joey's like, I don't know what this means. If you drive the right car, these are not genuine people who have the depth of character that you want to hang around with on a daily basis. They're only in it for looking a certain way or gaining something from you. I'm not saying everybody is like that, but they are out there and I would be cautious. When I was younger and in the beginning of my financial journey, I didn't buy new clothes for like 5 or 6 years at the beginning of our marriage. I didn't buy a new purse until the previous one literally fell apart, like the strap ripped off of the main purse, or the same purse for like 6 years. And I only had one. The day that it ripped, I threw it away and I bought a new one. Well, it was on clearance, so it was like $12 from Target. And then I used that one for another $6. And I wanted more than anything to have a nice purse. I actually wanted a Coach purse. I think they're really beautiful. And so I felt like if I could only afford a Coach purse, I would have made it. So fast forward a whole lot of years. I could have bought a Coach purse, but I didn't because I was scared to spend the money. So I put the purse on the back burner for several more years. So it wasn't until my YouTube channel had done well consistently for like 3 years that I found a used Coach purse on Poshmark for fairly cheap for a Coach purse, maybe $70. And I went ahead and bought it. And what I learned is that my life did not get any better.
Surprising.
I did not have more friends. I did not look cooler. In fact, I didn't even use it that often because I didn't want to mess it up. I ended up giving it away and learned that when you try and purchase status through objects, it does not work. We have this psychological need to be accepted and prove that we belong to a group. And I've suffered from it myself my whole life. I think all of us have. Hello, we're human. There's like 8 billion of us. Welcome to the planet. Acquiring the purse and then realizing my life didn't change one tiny little bit, other than the fact that I had to store something and I was out a few dollars, made me realize psychologically what I was doing. And I was kind of cured from the desire to purchase status. We don't want to chase this status symbol because it won't do anything. Warren Buffett said, too often a vast collection of possessions ends up possessing the owner. Are you more valuable to your friends and family if you live in a McMansion or like a 1950s small ranch starter home with no garage? No, it doesn't matter. No one cares. I promise you, you are not a failure if you do not purchase or wear or drive or live in whatever the current status symbol is. Don't spend money to chase status. It doesn't work. I know everything feels very expensive right now. I totally get it. But at its core, money is simple. Live below your means, avoid what you cannot afford, and save money every single month. And for some people, that does mean getting more education, changing jobs, maybe moving, doing some side hustles to pay off some bills, cutting up all the credit cards. It could mean those things in the short term, but hopefully you're on this upward trajectory of making smart money decisions regularly and then moving on up, so eventually life becomes extremely simple, uncomplicated, and you realize that living a fulfilled life isn't about buying stuff. There's only a couple things that you absolutely have to have with money, and that's a place to live, like a roof over your head, and food to eat. I mean, lights, some running water would be nice, maybe some clothes, that would be nice.
You think?
Everything after that, literally everything, is a want. It's all a want. Nothing else is a need. You only need a couple of things. And on our journey of financial freedom, which took a really freaking long time, by the way, that's what we did. We did the needs and almost no wants at all. I have a friend who loves outdoor adventures, and she's a little bit older than me. She's about 57. I think she's 57. She has worked so hard in order to have the freedom to go do her adventures every day. To me, a true life is the freedom to make your own choices instead of being chained to a job or a bill that you have to pay or a very beautiful house that costs a ton of money to pay for property taxes and utilities and time to clean. Like, I don't want any of those things. I want what she has, which is the freedom to wake up every day, choose what I want to do with my time instead of feeling like a slave to my financial decisions. She's quite an inspiration to me. And yeah, she's a little bit older than me, so maybe it's going to take me a few more years to get there, but I'm telling you, that's the goal. Which leads me into my next tip, that looking poor will get you there faster. My family has gone without a whole lot of things. We never went out to eat, ever, ever, ever. When I was 27, we had these friends that told us that they went to Sonic every day for dinner. At least four nights a week for a family of, I think they were family 4 at the time. We were family 4 at the time. 4 nights a week. Dave and I looked at each other and we were like, how in the ever-loving falafel are they able to go to Sonic 4 days a week and also pay for gas and also try and pay bills? And like, we had just bought our first house at the time and we were struggling to buy furniture and a lawnmower. And by learning how to cook from scratch and not going to Sonic 4 nights a week and not going to the movies like ever and not hiring babysitters, we were able to throw our money at these goals significantly faster. And what's really interesting about spending your money on a place like Sonic or going out to eat regularly, 15 years later, I would not have had fantastic memories of going to Sonic 4 nights a week. I would just have less money. So to be honest, we probably looked pretty poor. I wore the same clothes for 5 or 6 years and it was like a $5 t-shirt from Old Navy in 3 colors every single day for 5 years. And we accepted that we were just gonna wear the same Old Navy shirt for 5 years. We were able to take all of that money and do bigger financial things, like buy all of our cars in cash. The entire time we have been married, the entire 21 years we have been married, it's 22 years this year, oh my goodness. We have never had a car payment.
And where would you get this saved money?
So we cut all wants in order to achieve that goal. And not having car payments for 22 years is an extremely freeing feeling. I highly recommend, if there's any way you can just like buy an older car, hang on to it, pay it off, and then not buy a new one for as long as you can, life is gonna be good, real good. True wealth whispers. I might be showing my age, but I saw Titanic in the movie theater like 5 times. I would say Leo at his prime, you know what I'm saying? And who doesn't love Kate Winslet? Oh, I just love it.
So you want to go to a real party?
And there's a scene in there where they talk about new money versus old money. And you can tell the difference between the two because the new money puts on airs, that everything they have is very showy, it's very flashy, it's very flamboyant. And old money, people are comfortable with what they have and don't feel the need to flounce it around. Wear very high quality pieces, but are less flamboyant. They're subtle. And so maybe you can tell that they're made nicely, but they're not flashy. And that's the difference when it comes to looking rich and true wealth. Isn't it Keanu Reeves that like doesn't shave and wears like a black baggy t-shirt everywhere he goes in public. Dude's got so much money, so much money. And if he wasn't so recognizable, if you saw him, you probably wouldn't think he owned anything to his name. He does not care. I would like to be a lot more like Keanu Reeves. Plus he's John Wick, and it's like, that's pretty cool also. But wouldn't you love to be that comfortable with yourself, so secure in where you are and who you are, you could just wear a baggy black t-shirt like every single day and give 0 Fs?
Catch you later, Bill and Ted.
Also, speaking of Keanu Reeves, I just made my kids watch Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. They loved it. So if you've like middle teen boys, my boys loved it.
Strange things are afoot at the Circle K.
My friends, let's look poor together. Let me know down in the comments your favorite way to look poor when you go out in public, hang out with your friends, whatevs. If you don't have term life insurance, highly recommend. First link in the link below. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Christine out. But wait, there's more. So yesterday, I went mountain biking with my husband and my son. I'm just like really into the cycling right now. And this particular trail that we wanted to do is like you climb up a mountain, you gain a ton of elevation in not very many miles. It's really challenging. The top section is black, which is like harder, I guess. And I'm trying to do the whole ride without putting any feet down. Okay, so there's like a fitness issue, a power issue, a skills issue. Okay, so I'm working on all of these things. And it has been raining for like the last 10 days straight. But we had a window, a couple of hours. It was not supposed to rain until 3 p.m. And in the morning it was like 30 degrees. So I wanted to wait until 12. We were gonna bike from 12 to 2, where it was sunny, warmer, and no rain. So we go out, me, my husband, and my youngest son. He is 13, and we start doing the trail, and we're climbing up, and it's really warm, like maybe a little too warm. Glad I brought extra water. We're climbing up, 30 minutes into the climb, 40 minutes into the climb, 50 minutes into the climb. I noticed it's a little darker, like it's got some clouds going on, but it's fine. I know it's gonna rain, but not until 3. And then everything goes black. And I'm getting pelted by rain and what feels like hail. It may not be hail, it may have just been rain, but I'm like, it's windy and I'm getting pelted and it's very rocky, and wet rocks are very slippery on mountain bike tires. And so my husband's like, okay, we gotta turn around and we gotta go down, like it's too dangerous. So we turn down and we ride down the mountain. Water streaming down the trail, our tires kicking up mud all over us. It's completely ridiculous. We were so disgusting that we had to like sit on blankets and towels on the ride home, hose everything off, hose myself off, and then wash everything, including our backpacks, including our waist strap bags, everything, because we got soaked in mud. And when that happens, what else is there to do but laugh it off? And maybe sometimes when things don't go perfectly, it's just a core memory that we get to keep in our hearts for later.